we heard the term heart and soul, and Brian's still the longest tenured captain in the history of the team and still the heart and soul of the Blues. Dave Dorr asked Kristen Fokel where her passion came from. Where did Brian Sutter's passion come from?
Well, I just probably didn't like to lose. Plain and simple. I didn't like to eat, whether it be to my brothers or anybody else. It's passion is it's not a word you can write down on a piece of paper or anything like that. It's caring and being around good people and trying to win every night.
And you, in being in those locker rooms and as a coach, you cared so much and care so much for the people around you. Where did you learn to build that team and that esprit de corps and take the lead like you did?
Those are tough questions, Randy. I think I remember reading one time you don't read or you can't write down on a piece of paper what a leader is or whatever it is. You just want to make a difference and you don't want to let people down. And whether you're a husband or a good friend or a father, I learned really young that you can do just about whatever you want in life if you want to do it, and no matter what the heart is and measured in pounds and feet, and it's caring for the people that want to be around you, not wanting to let people down.
You were really young when you came to St. Louis, 20 years old when the Blues called you up, along with Bernie Federko. Anybody that's at that age, life is a blur. What do you remember about coming up in that first couple of years here?
Well, there was a lot of things. Judy and I were married when we were real young, and we came here, and this, for everybody out here, this is a great part of the world, and Mom and I were honored to be a part of St. Louis and sitting here today and looking at all these great people, and now me up here with them, and you're almost embarrassed, but we came here and you didn't want to let the city down. And you know, we had to work hard to keep hockey in St. Louis, and there's some guys sitting over there, and Dan Kelly's getting inducted tonight, and Bobby and Barkley's not with us, and we had to care for the community, and we had great people that ran the team that wanted us to think that way, and as a result, guys like Bernie and I stayed here a lot of years to, you know, you're a part of what's going on, and it's neat to come home. And it's pretty special. It's a great part of the world, and that meant a lot. You didn't want to let people down, the bottom line was, Randy. That's what you remembered about it.
You guys had an unbelievable season, your best season as a player in the 80-81 season, and finished second overall in the league. How close was that team to being a Stanley Cup champion? Because everybody in town thought when the playoffs started, okay, it's going to be the Blues and the Islanders.
Well, it was the Blues and the Islanders and a couple other teams, and there was 4 or 5 teams in the National League that were 10 times better on us on a piece of paper. But I remember Barkley telling me one time you flushed paper down the toilet lots of times, and there's a lot of great names on those teams, and they didn't win nothing. It took them years to figure it out, and we had a close-knit group of people that really cared for each other, and we didn't want to let each other down. And you know, if we lost lots of nights, the clock ran out. We made sure people didn't like what went on by the time the game was over. So we were close to winning. There was no question about it. And the Islanders deserved to win because, you know, they were a better team when it came down to it.
We saw the highlights from the Monday Night Miracle. That was a night where the clock didn't run out on the Blues. What are your strongest memories of that Monday night at the arena?
Well, I remember after the second period, I wasn't very happy. That's for sure. We were down 5-1, and you're in the playoffs, and wasn't a lot of fun to go home in the summertime and have a couple of brothers that have won, a couple more played a little bit longer than you were. So anyhow, that's what we remember about it. And Calgary had a good team. It was typical. We were one of the lowest payroll teams in the National Hockey League. Calgary was one of the highest. And I remember some of their guys laughing about it. And you know, actually we were a farm team for the St. Louis Blues. We were a farm team for the Calgary Flames because all our players after that year and the next 2 or 3 years just went over there and helped them win a championship. So it was we deserved to win that night, and we should have won the game number 7 too.
And another time when Calgary thought that they were a farm team for the Blues, they sent a guy named Brett Hull back in exchange for Rob Ramage, and a couple of goalies switched that night too. How gratifying was it for you to get a piece of clay like Brett Hull, and as a coach, mold him into what he became?
Well, I always believed as a coach, you never coached a team the way you wanted to coach it. You looked at your strengths, what you had in your team, and you made them understand themselves better. And when they did that, they became better players. And you know, if you look long enough and hard enough in life, you're going to see shit in somebody. And I wasn't one of those type of guys. You know, you look for the good in people, and Holly was one of those guys, and he just needed to be cared for in the right way, and you knew he was a special person, and as a result, he became the greatest scorer in the history of hockey.
And this is one of my favorite coaching stories. He scores 72 goals for the Blues, and he tells a story about the after-season meeting that you had with him. Can you relay that to us when you told him, okay, you can be a little bit better?
Well, that wasn't after 72 goals. Holly was one of the best players in the league when he scored 40. I think it was his first full year, and with us. And no, you knew this guy was the limit, and I didn't know how good he could become, so he sure as heck didn't know how good he could become. And this guy was the limit, and Brett was a special player. He was typical of a lot of the players that came here to St. Louis that supposedly weren't good enough to play on other teams.
You still wear the blue on your chest. How much would it mean for you for the Blues to have that parade down Market Street that we still haven't had?
Well, it's pretty special. There's no question about it. And like Bobby says, they're close, and it's time some of their top guys became their top guys, and they've been knocking at the door, and the table's been set for them, and they got to pull up their sleeves and sit down and eat everything on the table right now and push everybody off their chair.
Brian Sutter here in town, and it was awesome to see Bernie Federko and Brian Sutter up here talking tonight. It's great to have you here, and on behalf of everybody up here, I welcome you into the St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame.
Thank you, Randy.